All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of our bi-weekly podcast here at Gentian, where we let you know what you should pay attention to and what things you shouldn't. So, we have a couple of different things going on today. We'll talk today mainly about fraud. So, first of all, fraud is getting extremely crafty. They're using a lot of technology and AI to collect your toll on the Illinois tollway or to get that UPS package that's sitting at their house that they need your credit card for, or the IRS, is obviously calling you to get some toll or something that you haven't let them have. These are all frauds. But what we're going to talk about today is some of the instances of fraud, how it's happening, and things you can protect yourself with before this holiday. So today I'd like to go big by beginning with a great celebration. So hopefully many of you had the same kind of celebration for Thanksgiving, saw some people that you hadn't seen in a while, really got to know them again, got to express your gratitude to them as well, because I know that's what you all are doing. But it was really a wonderful season. And then we came back to a foot of snow, which is nice. So I went to Iowa to get away from all the snow, and then we got 15 inches there. Here in Wisconsin, we got about 12 to 13 inches. So, we got a little bit less here to deal with than there, but it's like a winter wonderland here because the snow here is all stuck to the trees. So for those of you here, you've seen it. Today we've seen the markets, kind of up and down quite a bit. Let me hop back to this, but I'm grateful for all of you who have learned over time to be great investors. We're constantly looking for ways to teach you to be and continue to be the investors that you are, which is not to freak out during downturns and corrections. And I mean that is not to do silly things. Now, there's a lot of opportunities to do those, but today we're going to talk a little bit about how to prevent some of the things that are fraudulent. But before we do that, let's go big. Let's go to Ken. How about yourself, Ken?
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it very much. And my go big is for Thanksgiving. I have two nieces, 5 and 4. They bring the innocence back to some of the holidays, which is really fun to see that and just their pure joy of kind of almost like their first times doing things. And, it kind of reminds me of my kids, but I get to relive it again through my nieces. So that's really fun there. And some of you do track the pie competition. We've talked about it a few times. You ask a lot about it. So the key lime pie in our family, we all submit a pie at the end of dinner, and then we vote on the pie. Okay, so key lime pie was a two-time champion. That was the one that we submitted. We lost this year to the pecan pie. So if you enjoy the pecan pie, you'll probably enjoy that victory. So just want to keep everybody updated on the Flannery family pie competition that goes on as a tradition in our house during Thanksgiving. So back to you, Chris.
Awesome. Thanks, Ken. So rather than Pi Day being on March 14th, you guys have it on Thanksgiving. I love that mathematical equation. That's awesome. I love the way to set the apple cart a different way. How about Ryan? How about yourself?
Thanks, Chris. I'm very grateful this year for traditions and starting new traditions specifically. My wife has never had a real Christmas tree at Christmas. And I didn't actually know that until I suggested we get a real tree this year. But so we went down to the O'Malley family farm here in Mequon. They offer an awesome experience. It was a great time. Hot cocoa and Santa and a wagon ride. And it was a really cool thing. So we've decided that that is now our Thanksgiving week tradition, is to get ourselves a real Christmas tree and go experience the campfire and the s'mores and the hot cocoa while we do it.
Awesome. I love that idea. I love the idea of new traditions because it is a really a tradition if you've done it new again. It's a weird way to make me think, Ryan. I'm thinking
How
about
many times do we need to do it before it's a tradition?
exactly. Is it one? It's a tradition. I've done that one time. It's a tradition for me to do the dishes on Thanksgiving once. At any rate, Zach, how about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Extremely grateful this week for celebrating milestones. So, yesterday, blessed to celebrate 1 year anniversary with my beautiful wife. This weekend, we're celebrating a little bit early, so it's not around Christmas time, but our son's first birthday, and his name's Wesley. So, the theme is Wild Wild Wes. So, that's very applicable and very much like him if you've met him so far. And also, I was notified this morning that it's been 10 years in the industry as of today of helping people. So tomorrow, I'll say I've been in the industry for more than a decade. And but just extremely grateful for that journey 8 years ago of joining the team here at Gentian and how much my life has changed, and also to each of the individuals and families that I've been able to work with and serve over the last 10 years. It's just a incredible experience to work with each of you.
Awesome. Thank you. So it's a tradition for you to say that you've been here for 10 years now. That's awesome. Been in the industry for 10 years. Great. How about Mr. Man? Mr. Man, how about yourself?
Thanks. I'm gonna follow Zach's tradition about talking about Gentian on December 3rd. Anyways, this is too much. I'm gonna backtrack and just say I'm grateful for safe holiday travel. Super lucky enough to be back in Wisconsin on Thanksgiving, which was absolutely wonderful. Our families live within minutes of each other. And so it is this constant back and forth. I think they made the trip between her family's home and mine about 10 times in about 2 days. So yeah, it's a blessing and a curse in that because the other always wants to see each other when they get the opportunity to, and they know that they're just so close, especially when Sabrina's home. She's a hot commodity. I'm just kind of interesting. But safe holiday travel back with all the storms and everything like that. Sabrina and I counted 34 cars in the ditch, and we were not one of them on our drive back to DC. So grateful for that. Also grateful for all those highway workers, those working the Ohio Pike, Columbia Pike, whatever that is. The whole bit being able to pull people out of the ditch and taking care of everybody who needed it. So yeah, thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Birchbach. How about yourself?
Thanks, Chris. My gratitude today, a couple of things, but the first one is the time of the year. For whatever reason, for the longest time, it always feels like the week after Thanksgiving, like Christmas is finally here. So I guess you could maybe call that a tradition. But also very grateful for Michelle Norris as well. I felt a little bit of a sickness coming on, and on her webinar last week, Thursday, talked about immune health and drinking like chicken or beef broth. And I've never tried that before. And after doing that the first day, getting some rest the next day, I actually felt like I made some progress, which is rare. So very grateful for what she's able to share with us and help us out with. Thanks, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you as well. Mike, man, back to your idea. I always wonder why cars park in the ditch during snowstorms. I'm not sure what that is. It seems like an odd place.
They're just trying to get out of the way of the snowplow.
I guess it must be. I think in Iowa there were 34 just on one little stretch of the highway, like a 10 or 15 miles. So, Ashley, how about yourself?
Thank you. Yes, I'm grateful for Thanksgiving, and this year Thanksgiving fell on a birthday for two very important people in my family. Both my dad and our 1-year-old puppy, Addie, turned 1. So we are just excited that we got to celebrate them all together on Thanksgiving Day.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So today, again, we're going to talk a little bit about fraud. Thank you, Ashley, as well. We're going to talk a bit about fraud and some of the different ideas. It's really fraud and Cyber Awareness Week. Anybody heard of cyber fraud ever? So we've seen a lot of it with our clients. People will hack into different ideas. They'll offer a password. They'll see something that looks innocuous and they'll click on it and enter some information. The key is you'll get these from time to time, and they're going to get more and more complex. They're even sometimes impersonating some different ideas, but we'll talk more about some of those. I think the interesting thing is it all kind of starts, security starts with passwords, right? So I was looking, I think I was just signing into some random system here at Raymond James, and it said I needed a password that was 8 characters long. So I chose Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So I figured that would work out really well. And I don't know how to enter it. I haven't gotten back into that system since, but at least that's been mine. Anyway, but to you, all joking aside, it's kind of interesting how frustrating it can be to have 275 passwords and they're all supposed to be different. So I'm not sure how many of you have that as well, but there's some interesting parts about keeping passwords kind of safe, if you will. But we have seen an upturn in crime when it comes to, excuse me, cybersecurity in the last probably 6 or 7 years, but especially even in the last year or 2 or 3. Now you're all getting smarter about it. You guys tend to be very well prepared for it, but you're going to be once in a while just hamstrung by something that pops up on your screen. So let's hop right into it. Let's go with, how about Mr. Zach? Let's go with Zach's facts. Let's start with that.
Sounds great, Chris. Really appreciate it. I'll just touch on markets just to continue the rhythm here, continue the tradition, if you will, of going through these. But the Dow Jones up 11.5%, and there's really no changes since the beginning of November during our last biweekly webinar, which is extremely interesting. If you looked at the path of the journey over the last month, it definitely wasn't flat. So S&P 500 about 16%, the NASDAQ just over 20. The Russell 2000 up 10.5%, and that's actually up 10% since August 1st. So if you've heard us talk about small cap in the past, they can move really fast both directions. So amazing piece of the portfolio there. International up 24% and emerging markets up almost 28% on the year. So extremely interesting to look at. November, the markets at some point were down 2 to 3%, which felt like a lot because we haven't really seen any downward volatility since April, but that's extremely normal. That's a daily movement in the market over time. So continuing along with the cybersecurity, a big one that Chris touched on is called phishing. Unfortunately, it's not a friend calling you to go bass fishing or walleye fishing. It's actually text or email scams, and a lot of those common ones that Chris mentioned of UPS saying that there's a package that's being delivered. You got to type in your information to receive it, or you just went through the toll system and now you get a text saying that you have to pay these unpaid tolls or there's a warrant out for your arrest. And they're getting very, very strategic where it lines up very closely to a package that you actually are expecting, or you maybe just went through a toll system and it makes perfect sense that this would be out there. So be extremely, extremely careful with those. And Ashley shared with us that last year alone, $900 million were scammed through phishing scams. So be really aware that if you don't recognize something via email, if you don't recognize something via text message, don't type any of your personal information into those. So with that, Chris, I'll pass that back to you.
Thank you very much. I had an interesting one last night too. 2:54 a.m. There's a phone call. I didn't answer it, but it was there. And then it said request your location. It had the little thing. If you hit a button, it would request, me adding that person to my location. Again, it was fraud. It was no number that I've ever seen. And I constantly get these text or sometimes even calls, but usually text. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, don't leave the, stuff out in the road. Don't leave stuff in front of the door for your delivery package. It's from numbers that are 910, just numbers that are nothing I have to do with. So if you've sent me something with a one-liner like that and I've not responded, I apologize, but I'm just trying to make sure that we are not responding to fraud. So thank you very much. Thanks, Zach. Let's go over to Mike's Minute. What's up, Mike?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, and one of the basic things that I always try to do if I get one of those like Illinois tollways or UPS sending me a message saying that my package is undelivered. Amazon, recently I got one from them asking me to update account information through a text message, which, that's a red flag. But do a quick Google search, just to very simply what scams, like what Amazon scam, is there a UPS scam? Will the Illinois tollway text you? Like all of these things, and just try to get some backbone to it. Because if you have this question, there's a high likelihood that somebody else has looked it up. And I found Google to be a great resource, or wherever you do your searching, to be able to just find quickly that there's a scam floating around. So it helps you make a smart decision there. Before I talk a little bit more about some of the cybersecurity and actually what Raymond James does to protect you all and what we do at Gentian Financial, I want to talk real quick about the Federal Reserve. 1 week from today, the Fed will meet, and right now it is widely expected to be another rate cut in December. That comes on the heels of a weakening labor market, but the Federal Reserve is still paying attention to inflation and how that's going to affect us going forward. So it is expected to be a rate cut. Nothing is ever guaranteed. If they were to and not cut rates this time, expect a little bit of market volatility. We'll see what happens, but that's what's being anticipated right now. If we do get a rate cut, that would be the third of the year, meaning that the lending rate is the base for lending is now 0.75% lower than where it started. That's if we get another 0.25% rate cut. So just something I wanted to point out. It'll continue to be conversations as interest may continue to come down in the future and how that affects you and the opportunities that it presents. Coming back to fraud, and we just want to always kind of talk about some of the Raymond James stuff, and could go a whole lot longer than 1 minute. I probably already have, just based on the investment that Raymond James has done in technology and cybersecurity specifically. This year, they put over $1 billion towards their technology initiatives, which includes their cybersecurity investment. And it gives us tools to help you. You've heard us talk at length about the Client Access Vault. It's a wonderful place to securely share documents with us, securely hold documents for yourselves, and be able to access them on the go if you need them. They also give us the ability to send encrypted emails. Please don't ever send us any account-related information. When I say that, it's personal identifiable. Anything that has an account number, for instance, please send that to us or ask us to send an encrypted email to get that information to us. That's going to be any statements, tax documents, stuff in that nature. We have ways to get that securely. If the vault doesn't work for you, we can set up an encrypted email. Other things that are required of us and things that we do is the verbal authorization for any money movement. And that's any money movement, even if it's going to be first person and one-off money movements, I should say. We can set up the automatic monthly stuff. A lot of you are familiar with that. But any money movement that's a one-off, we will pick up the phone and call you to make sure that that email that you sent us is valid. That's if it's just going back to your checking account on file. If it's going to a third party, then we are very specifically having greater conversation about it. And if it's a very large amount, Raymond James might actually call you to be that another confirming factor. So all sorts of things in which we're doing here. We have dual authentication on your app to log in. I know that's sometimes a headache because you got to get an email or a text message. It's to protect you. It's coming from a great place. We like to have trusted contacts on file so we have somebody we can reach out if we ever saw a scam or fraudulent things. We have a whole cyber threat team that holds us accountable. We get emails on a regular basis that we have to accurately report to cybersecurity. That is just a test from Raymond James to make sure that we stay up to date on things. And that also includes a yearly continuing education we have to do to understand cybersecurity at the end of the day. I am just dumping this all on the spot to let you know that we are taking every step that we can to continue to be educated ourselves. And Raymond James makes sure that they are protecting your assets and your accounts in the best way possible. Last thing, if you're ever suspecting fraud, let us know. Let us be one of the first person. We have tools available to us to be able to lock up your accounts here to make sure things don't happen that we can't, that we don't have authorization for, things in that regard. So it is a wide network. It's a wide web that keeps growing. We're going to continue to do everything we can to protect you. Chris, I think that was exactly 1 minute. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna have to work on your estimating time there, Mr. Man. But I appreciate you. Exactly. Pretty as close to 1 minute as you can go. But anyway, I wanted to go through. Thank you tremendously. There's a couple of things you brought out. I think that one thing I had a call with Paul Shukri, our new CEO of Raymond James, the firm that we clear with, and he's dedicated over $1 billion to it's called cybersecurity fraud. It's amazing to see his commitment and doubling down again on trying to stay one step ahead of the criminals. Now, one thing that criminals have is they have a first mover advantage. Remember, something comes out, you have to figure out what's come out before you put in a solution. They get to operate with it right away. So they get a first mover advantage. One thing to know, always be prepared if something looks fishy, if something seems different. I think you guys have reiterated that, but we want to keep hitting that piece as well. With that, let's go to Mr. Birschbach.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, for today, I want to talk about or actually give you guys a few tips for when that fraud message may be coming your way or you're not so sure. So typically when you see these messages, they're texts, emails, sometimes phone calls, but it's always an urgent tone. The account is locked. There's an unpaid bill. There's a legal threat. We need this from you immediately. My advice to you typically is going to be take that with a grain of salt to start, and then start to work through other channels or verified channels through that company that's reaching out to you. So if it's UPS, if it's Amazon, go directly to their website, call that number if you think it is true, just to verify that. Don't reply to that message with anything, no personal information, even a simple response we've been told in the past. They can track that and mark that as your potential target for them in the future because you did respond. So just be really careful with that. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's another piece of advice that holds true in a lot of things, but absolutely with fraud. Another tip, no company should ever ask for your login credentials. So if it's asking for your username, user ID, and password, obviously don't give them that information. And sometimes in the emails that you receive, an easy way to spot some of these threats are simple spelling error in the email address. So FedEx may be missing the second E in the name of the email address that the message is coming from. So it's real small things that may make everything look legitimate, but it's great just to double check. Some of the more popular ones I know that we're going to touch on here, but the tech support scams, romance scams, unpaid tolls, a lot of that stuff are some of the more popular ones that we've seen over the last number of years. But one new cool feature, and I'll finish with this, that has came out from the newest iPhone iOS software update is what they call the potential spam call filter. So if your phone rings and the number isn't showing up, but instead it says potential spam, Apple is doing what they can as well to prevent some of these phone call scams. So another layer of protection that's kind of built in if you do use an iPhone. So just wanted to touch on a couple of tips today, and I'll pass it back to you. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Birchbach. I appreciate that as well. Thanks for giving us some of the tips on there. How about Ashley's antics? Ashley, why don't you give us a few of the ideas that we should pay attention to as well?
Yes, thank you, Chris. So the average family from Thanksgiving to Christmas will spend thousands of dollars extra just because of all of the things containing holidays, right? You start with Thanksgiving, you may entertain, you have food costs, you have entertainment costs, and then you go straight into Christmas, right? So hopefully you got some Black Friday shopping done, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and give you a few tips on how to outsmart overspending this holiday season. So number one, we say it here at Gentian all the time when it comes to financial plans, but make a budget. Okay, stick to that plan, and don't forget to add in all those entertaining costs
Gentian
every
Financial,
time
this is
you
Julie.
get invited. Sorry about that. Mute Julie. You'll want to just consider those entertainment costs, food, drinks, travel time, travel gas money. Use a gift list. List all the people that you have on your shopping list and put a price cap on it. So don't go over that price cap, so that'll help you avoid overspending as well as any last minute or impulse buys for that same person. Shop the deals. Again, we already went past Black Friday, but there are tons of retailers coming out with that after Cyber Monday deals still rolling out. So just shop deals. Don't go in with maybe a certain item, but be open-minded. And again, check out those deals and specials that stores are running. Always compare prices. So you may be at a store and you find a perfect item or a perfect gift for someone. Make sure you use that smartphone and check out the price and its competitors elsewhere. So many stores will price match right on the spot. You go with customer service, show them the exact same item, again, it has to be very specific and exactly the same, but they will price match mostly of the time. Another one, don't get stuck in those credit card traps. A lot of stores this time of year are saying, oh, you can save, an extra 30%, 35%, 20%. Don't open credit cards just to save a little bit of money, unless you plan, of course, to pay them off right away. And again, don't get too many credit cards open, because then that opens a whole nother issue for yourself. Consider these budget-friendly alternatives also. Personalized gifts. If you would love to bake or if you love to make something, don't be afraid to bundle that up, package it, and give it away to someone near and dear to you. Homemade treats, again, are never a disappointment for most people, so you can please everybody doing those homemade treats and DIY crafts, of course, or the idea of experience-based gifting. So if you know a family that you have to buy for, they love to watch movies, create them a movie basket, create them a pasta making dinner basket. It'll go a long way. Create a game night. That kind of experience can go much further than just a specific toy or, of course, that gift that you're planning for. And again, plants, everybody loves something green in their home. It cleans the air. So don't be afraid to give a plant or something in that realm. And of course, budget finds. Using thrift stores. There's a lot of new items that still have original tags on. So don't be afraid to branch out, check out antique stores. And again, of course, anything that can save a little bit of money this holiday season. I'm going to turn it back to you. Thank you, Chris.
Anyway, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you keeping us safe. Thank you for saving us some tips as well as what we can save on. A couple of things I wanted to just touch on here after we went through this is, I'm not sure if you guys are dog fans, but for those of you who are dog fans, it's interesting. There's a new brand of dog out there. It comes from Ebenezer Scrooge. It's called a Bah Humpug. So right in time for the holiday seasons, go ahead and you can get one out there. I think there's a great breeder out there. Matter of fact, you might get a text about somebody wanting to send a gift card to get one today. See how I tied that in? A couple of different things though, as we go along. I just wanted to say, wanted to give you kind of an overview of some of the ideas here. You've seen it before, cyber fraud exists, any kind of fraud exactly as well, but I put together just a few short things. Verify before you trust. Very important. Here we've got passwords, we do things, we know who you are. It's going to get more sophisticated. So this is as least sophisticated as cybercrime will ever be. Okay, so you might actually get voices that sound like mine or Lisa's or somebody else's. You might in the future get a video, but we're going to start looking at all the things we can do to thwart those ahead of time. So let's say you are not a dog owner. Go say, how's your dog? The cyber security or the bot that's made to look like me will go, they have no idea that you have a dog or don't have a dog, right? So little things like that, just odd little things that we know are super important, but verify before you trust. Watch for urgency tactics. A big one is, listen, hey, we need to get this done right away, or this delivery won't happen, or whichever. So sometimes they're catching on to the fact that they know you've ordered something somewhere, and you believe just looking over, oh, this must be about delivery. So be very careful with the urgency tactics as well. They kind of create artificial pressure to bypass our critical thinking, so we think it's an emergency, we have to do something about it. Sometimes maybe this happens at home too, the urgency tactic. We got to think about that one. At any rate, protect your login credentials. Those are super important, and do change them when you need to. The two-factor authentication is actually very important. It's one of the few things that makes it very difficult for cyber criminals to get through and into. They may get a password, but when you have the two-factor authentication, they don't have your phone. So it's a good portion to be able to do a good way to take that into consideration as well. So watching the login credentials is important. Be cautious with links and attachments. This is a big one, I think, that's kind of crazy. One thing I do with a link or attachment or a text or an email or something, I take a photo of it. I take a snapshot on my phone by pressing the buttons on the side, and then I put it in chat.gpt or somebody else, one of the large language models, and I ask them, is this legitimate? I actually will do that sometimes even with the voicemail because some collection agency is calling me about some debt that I hadn't, paid in a very long time, which just doesn't happen. But we'll put those through to see, are these legitimate, agencies? Are these legitimate calls, or is this legitimate email or text? And oftentimes we'll point you, nope, this is one of the most, common frauds. You just haven't seen it before. Remember, it's only new to you if you haven't seen it yet. Everybody else may have seen it and gotten it, but you may not have gotten it yet. So I just wanted to make sure that was a big one too. Be cautious with links and attachments. Monitor your accounts regularly. That doesn't mean like 4 or 5 times a day, like some of you do. I'm talking like probably once a week, once every couple of weeks. Just take a look at them, see what's going on with it as well. It doesn't mean to monitor the market. It means to monitor the accounts themselves. Keep your systems updated regularly. When you do shut down and you do update your system, it's actually restoring patches and putting in new patches to things that they know that are potential weaknesses presently. So it's an important one as well when they update an app, when they update but go through the system that you have. Don't have somebody who requests you update your app via a text. That's, an issue right away. Also, if you're ever really looking at cyber fraud on an email, look at the site they want you to return to, like Amazon with 2 N's, or, there's a bunch of odd things that go on like that. UPS, but it's at a dot something else, in that. So just be very careful with those. So keeping the system. So the 4 or 5 are verify before you trust, watch for urgency tactics, protect login credentials, be curious with links and attachments, and monitor your systems, monitor your accounts regularly, and keep your systems updated. We want to actually remind you as well that legitimate organizations won't ask for sensitive information like passwords or PINs. We've said that already, especially via text. And the bank or financial advisor will never pressure them to move urgently without proper verification. Now, I just read this one recently. I know I'm speaking fast, but I just read this one recently as well. And you have to be careful. We had somebody who's had this occur. They're getting into financial institutions or you by telling you they're from a financial institution. So for instance, they tell you, I'm with so-and-so with Raymond James. I'm a fraud accountant, and I was just looking at this, and I need your login credentials so I get in and see what's occurred here. That will never occur. So we've had somebody actually pose as somebody who's working through your bank, let's say you banked with Bank of America. They said that they were from there, but investigating fraud from Raymond James. So I'm from Raymond James looking at your Bank of America statement just to make sure all the transactions are going through properly. I need some data. Not a chance. You call us immediately. We will verify if that person works at Raymond James. This person did not. They even gave them an employee number. Yeah, it's employee 4393. I'm the vice president of this. So I went through, looked for whoever this was. A, they didn't exist. B, there was a name that was very similar, but B, their employee number wasn't anything to do with Raymond James. So it is getting more sophisticated. They will sound very here. One thing these guys are really good at is these guys and gals, they are very convincing. They are actors. They are better and better at what they do. So I just want to make sure as you're looking through this, there's a lot of different ways it can happen. We'll keep you protected. Our goal, obviously, is to make sure, first and foremost, that your holidays, your money, and your retirement are safe. So we take that very, very seriously. So I appreciate that as well. So let me leave you with something here today. I know I'm a couple minutes over, but I wanted to offer you just one or two different things here because I think it's a wonderful, wonderful day. And I wanted to give you the 12 days of Gentian. So I put a little song together, on the 12th, on the first day of Christmas. So I'm going to sing the whole thing to you right now, a cappella. I'm just going to speak it. But it's the 12 days, what called 12 days of winter, Gentian brought to me. So on the 12th day of winter, Gentian brought to me 12 families thriving, 11 portfolios humming, 10 retirees sleeping, 9 clients calling, 8 planners planning, 7 budgets balancing, 6 snowflakes drifting, 5 golden goals. 4 falling markets. I'm changing that to 4 rising markets. 3 tax tips skiing, 2 warm mittens, and a plan that beats the cold with certainty. So that was the 12 days of Christmas from Gentine. Just want to put a little something together to end this as well. But with you, keeping you safe, keeping your money safe, really looking at the trust that you've given to us is of the paramount, most importance. So for us today, we want to thank you tremendously for all the introductions you've given us. Most importantly, that we get the time to take care of you and your family and you trust us. The experience, hopefully, that you've had by being introduced to us has been a wonderful experience. If you have any questions, we appreciate as well all the comments and thanks that we get all the time. We really, really do. Those are amazing. And especially once you introduce a friend or a family member to us, we understand that that's like one of your close relationships, and we take the utmost care of them as well. But in this holiday season, we want to make sure that you see there's only 22 shopping days, if you're including Christmas, left. And I know some of you might shop Christmas Eve, so maybe it's 21 shopping days left. However, cyber shopping goes on all the time. So there's no store hours with shopping on cyber deals. But with that, I want to say thank you so much from the Gentian headquarters here in the snowy universe of Mequon, Wisconsin. But we wish you a wonderful holiday here. We hope to see you. Hope you have a wonderful time together. Enjoy the holidays, and thank you very much for your trust in working with us.